Come to the show.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah. So, like I always like to ask all my interviewees, if someone were to come out in an event and were to come up to you and ask you, what do you do? How would you answer them? Of course, usually you'll be in your t-shirt, so they will know, but this time around, maybe you're not in your
What do
polo
I
tee.
do? I'm a father of two boys. I'm a husband. Uh, I am an entrepreneur, a social entrepreneur who runs a shop. I'm a teacher. Uh, so I'm a management consultant. I help people to grow their company. So that is how I would address myself. A lot depends on who wants to know and why you want to know, most of the time. If a young man came along and say, yeah, I want to, what do you do? So I would tell them, okay, I'm a teacher. If a businessman came along, I'll tell them I'm a social entrepreneur. Right. So it depends on, if a friend comes along and says, yeah, I'm a father of two sons.
Yeah, because you wear so many hats.
No, everybody wear many hats. It's like my wife always says, like a dice got six faces. Each face do you use when you use it. So that's how I see it.
And if I could just, if you were to take a stab at describing your childhood, paint us a picture. Where, do you grow up, your surroundings?
I grew up at, I'm born in 1959. I live in Havelock Road area, Jalan Minyak area. I grew up in those areas. My father at that time is bus conductor. My mother is a spinstress. She sewed dresses and stuff like that. I'm youngest of six kids. My eldest one is sister, then brother, sister, brother, sister, brother. So I'm the youngest of the lot, right? So I'm very fortunate. I'm one on six of them. I am the one who actually got better education, because by the time number one drop out for number two drop out for number three so forth, I was a lucky one. I managed to go further my study. Mm-hmm. So I studied at a place called Persil Primary School, which is now, they don't have it anymore. Then I went on to study. I studied at Bukit Merah Secondary School, and then on to study at Queenstown Secondary Technical School. Then I decided to go to Polytechnic, Singapore Polytechnic. It was at that stage that I realized after graduating, I was in the Navy and I worked in Jurong Shipyard.
Yeah.
Okay. It was at that time that I realized how important education is. Then I told my mom and dad I want to further study. So I packed my bag. I went to UK to study.
Wait a minute there. What made you realize that it's so important working at Jurong Shipyard?
I mean, I get people coming in. He's got a degree. He's paid 1,001, while I only got diploma. Only pay $800. I'm not very studious person. I'm very fortunate. I have a very happy, family value, family support. I'm very fortunate. We used to have 8 person living in one flat in Jalan Minyak, so I can understand the early days of Singapore, right? So it comes to a stage where you go out to work and you realize, wow, you need to have a degree, So I packed my bag. I asked my mom, I need to go overseas study. We're not very rich. And my mom said, yeah, you go and study. I will find you the money.
You didn't look into studying locally, did you?
No, at that time, in Singapore Poly, last time, NTU, NUS will not accept them. It's not like now, Polytechnic can go to university. At that time, you can't. So I decided that I want to go and study. So there were many offers for me. At that time, I applied to many places. I got a place at Sheffield University,
yes,
where I do mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
So when I went there to study, I'm quite fortunate now. I did dual honors degree, meaning that I did 2 degrees, mechanical engineering and business study. Mm-hmm. After 3 years, I end up with first class honors for both. Right.
Yeah, and during your time over at Sheffield University too, you were working with William Cook.
No, not at that time. Was a summer job. Okay. What happened is I need to work, and because financially we are quite tight, not enough money. I remember working there 5 jobs. On top of study, I have to study. On top of study, I work part time. I work in all kinds of places. I learned a lot. I was in a Chinese takeaway. I cleaned graveyard. I was a car mechanic. I work in the cinema. You know,
Wow.
all this job to earn to make ends meet. So what happened? I was very fortunate. I was looking for a summer job. I went to a factory that make foundry, steel foundry. So I told the company I want to work. This gentleman who come and greet me said, "Why don't I show you the place?" So he showed me the place, and he said, "Do you still want to work?" Because if you understand what is steel foundry, it's very mucky. It's very mucky. It's not very environmentally friendly to work, and it's hot steel, molten metal. But at that time, I thought this could be a very good, for engineers, this is fantastic experience. So I quite fortunate. I went to work for him this summer. I must have done quite well. He came back and said, because what I did was, because when I went to study, I'm already 25. I'm very old in the class. So because I worked several years in Jurong Shipyard.
Yes.
So when I went there and I worked there, I got more experience. So when I was in the foundry, I realized there's another way of doing layout, process improvement. So I told him, why don't I redraw the whole layout? And I did.
Wow.
I showed it to him and he was very impressed. So next day he came back and said, why don't you work for me? I said, Ken, if I work for you, can you pay you can give me a scholarship? And he said, okay. He went back, he came back, okay, come and work for me 2 years. I'll pay a scholarship. I'll give you a scholarship. So I end up, after graduating, working for a company called William Cook Steel Casting.
Yeah. No, because the thing is that what I'm surprised is that you managed to almost secure yourself a scholarship where it's not given out usually, but you manage to ask for it and you get it.
In my life, I think I plot my life very well. And one of the things I do is that I need to support. My mom and dad support me in the education. I hope if we can find more money, will help supplement the case. So what I did is I went to work for them. I graduated, and I'm quite fortunate. When I graduated, my mom came over and saw the graduation. So I worked in this foundry. I went back. I went to work for William Cook. Now William Cook produced casting as small as like a golf club, as big as a GE motor. So it was the largest independent steel foundry, and that's where I realized the color of your skin. I'm a management trainee, so going there.
At William Cook.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was the only one, the first one they ever had. So the color of the skin matters, right? Imagine that was also during the time of the coal miners' strike. Something that many Singaporeans will not understand is when the whole country went on strike, right? On top of that, William Cook actually supplied casting to them, right? So I need to go to coal mine and all that. I learned a lot about strikes. For 6 months, I was apprenticeship. It's a 2-year apprenticeship. First 6 months, I went through all the business section.
That is after you graduated.
Yeah,
is that
after I
it?
graduated.
Got it.
So I worked in the casting. So I realized it's a fantastic experience. Not many Singaporeans had that one. So I learned also one thing, respect has been earned. You see, they either call me Charlie Chan or Bruce Lee, they never call me, they think I'm a Japanese. All that kind of thing, culturally they're different, especially in this industry. Steel industry is a closed industry. And I'm very fortunate, I must be the only Chinese Singaporean foundryman in the whole UK at that time. I learned a lot, actually. Right. And through the course of it, I realized I have to earn their respect. So I went through a lot of things that they put me through. There are a lot of things they put me through.
Can you
anyway.
tell us some of those?
Because they know that you're going to be a boss one day and you're a foreigner. So what happened now, they put me to mucky places. If you don't understand how foundry works, all the sand will go down. I'm the one that clean everything. Actually, one of the most best experience I ever had was the day I become their manager. You see, by the end of the day, I have to be their manager. So there's a little story that I learned a lot. You see, industry is very close. Everybody knows everybody. Uncle, brother all work there. I'm the only foreigner that comes in. So I can understand about foreign talent coming to Singapore. And being studying in Sheffield University, I also know about foreign students going to study overseas. So for that reason, I decided, yeah, it was a little story that I put life into perspective, and I took it to myself. It was an incident that happened on the last day of my training. I'm not sure where should I share this type of story, but we skip this one. So
Okay.
skip this story, story. But I learned a
That's
lot.
fine. We
Respect
can always
effort.
cut it. You have the final edits to the video. So
Okay, I tell you. So the story goes like this. It was the last day of the training. Tomorrow I'll become their foundry manager.
Yeah.
Right. But today is the day that they realize they really have to make sure I go through the last procession. It's an orientation thing. You must understand, when I first came to the thing, there's something called quite unique. It's an orientation. It's a game called ABC. Every person who come in the company, in the foundry, in my steel inside foundry, we have to go through this ABC trick. So A will come and tell me, hey, why don't you talk to B? B, sister is a belly dancer, very famous, everything. So being new, you go and ask, you try to make friends, right?
Yeah.
So I went there, I make friends. Then what happened was, I went to ask B, tell me what happened to your sister. B will cry, scream, and shout, and then run away, right? So he got shocked.
And these are guys.
These are guys. This is a very good routine. Actually, I'm writing a book about this. So then I don't know what to do. I go to see A. A, can you tell me what happened? So A will ignore me. So I went to see C. C will say, you shouldn't ask. A's sister went through an accident, the belly dancer lost her leg, everything. C's job is to make my life very difficult. You keep pounding me. Why you do this? Why you ask stupid question? Why? Pounding for days and days and days. Many people will resign. Many people will find it very difficult because you're new to the place. And everybody in the factory is part of the act. Everybody will make it very difficult for you. So this is called ABC trick. Right. I didn't know, after many years there, then I learned how to do this myself. So I become, at the end of the day, I also part of the gang. Sometimes I play A, sometimes I play B. It's a traditional thing that we do. So this taught me a lot about, respect. I learned a lot about the culture there, and I love the country. I love the people. I love my foundrymen. 48 of them, 10,000 tons of steel. I tell you, sometimes when it comes to strike, because of one pence, they will blow the whistle, the whole thing down tools. And everybody had to rush to the furnace to stir the furnace. It's actually quite a fantastic experience. Not many people will encounter this. The day I graduated as a management trainee was a day that I learned a lot about what respect is. You see, it was a very cold winter day. And I had my what they call donkey jacket. Donkey jacket is very thick. And there's a cap I used to do from Geelong Shipyard. I wear that all the time. So it was winter. And my job is very simple. It was the last day where I have to look after the furnace. You see, to make casting, you need to melt the metal and then put hell in. So what happened is I was asked to fetch the scrap, bring the scrap up the slope, and pour into the furnace. You see, I don't know. I really don't know. So I went to collect all the scrap. And because it's winter, all the scrap are wet. So when I pull it up and go to the furnace is 1.5 ton. It's about 3 feet diameter. I'm supposed to pour in. What happened is that as I bring the trolley up, you see everybody move back. Every single one moved back. At that time, I don't know what happened. Right. So I was told that, well, it's a job, right? Nobody told me. So what I do, I pour the scrap into the molten metal. Now, people will not tell you. When hot metal hit molten metal, boom, burst. Right. And when it bursts, okay, these are manganese steel. Meaning that when it hit your skin, it sizzles. So imagine the whole firework goes up and we come down, it burns the entire body. That day what happened, I look up. I was, very painful, really very, very painful. Right. I look up and one person said something, smile. That one word taught me a lot of things. So I smiled. And everybody there also laughed and clapped. And that day told me that, respect, I earn it. You work long hours, I work even longer hours. You take shit, I take shit. You do this. And I tell you, it's one of the greatest bunch of people I ever worked with. when they went through thick and thin, miners strike lah, shortage of scrap lah, everything they all come together and we work together. And that day I become the foundry manager of William Cook Steel Casting. The company has capacity. My boss very clever. Why don't we start buying company, strip them, take the order, do ourselves, right? So at that time, I was part of the team to do.
Because William Cook then was still a steel casting.
No, it's always been a steel casting. It's until today, it's steel casting.
Right.
So
because
what happened
the
is
merger and acquisition came about.
Then what happened is the idea was to buy people's companies, strip them, take the order, and do ourselves, right? I was asked to be then I was part of the team. But in order to do that, you need to IPO. So I was involved with the acquisition, initial public offering of William Cook Steel Casting to William Cook Steel PLC. Then they list the money, he got money. Then we went around the world buying company. I was involved with 30 company, bought 8, shut 5. I'm what they call an asset stripper. I strip company, right, which I'm very good at. So after many years of doing this, I decided enough of doing this because...
Can I unpack that a little bit about buying and shipping? Because I think you're in a very unique position that not a lot of people actually have that experience.
Why do people buy company?
Well, why is probably the reason is to take their orders. And I guess maybe just unpack that a little bit for us.
Okay, why? Okay, William Cook maybe do X kind of job. For example, they do general commercial work. So the other company maybe do defense equipment, like military track, tank, all that, right? So you buy them in to complement your business, right? We do a lot of mining product. So one thing people acquire is either acquire new industry, acquire new technology. We acquire company that makes container boxes. At the end, those bracket is a proprietary right. So we buy company for purpose and then expand the business from £3 million to £30 million in 5 years, right? At that time, it's 4 point something. You're booking $120 million business. It's a lot of money, right?
And when you go in to a company, obviously you do your research, and this is like they will give you, this is the company I want to either buy, sell, or strip down or close it down. What is your job when
my
you
job is more the proprietary intellectual property. You see, for making castings, you need patents. My purpose, I'm the IT person. Because my purpose is those patents must be safeguarded. Because to make anything, you need a patent, you need a mold. I look after the mold. Because without looking after the mold, the business has no value. So basically, my job is to, when we go and negotiate, I have to evaluate what condition of all the mold, condition, everything, what proprietary, any right, and who has the right to it. I do all this work. Right, then I'll tell them, okay, this is worth $2. But the guy will say, seller will ask for more, I want $10. So my job is to give them the valuation of what I think. So 30 company bought 8, shut 5.
Are you also a negotiator in that time?
So I negotiate, I went to China in 1987, or mid-80s, to involve with a company called, a big China company. Yeah. Then I was in Indonesia, to Bandung. I was in Bilbao, Spain. I was in New York. I went all over the world. I'm very fortunate. At the age of 20-something, I traveled the world doing this.
What I'm curious to know, what were your hit rate of the company? How do you make an offer so good that they would want to?
Anything can be, any deal can be closed. Seriously, I mean, I'm involved. Later on, we become consultant. Any deal can be closed. Is to what extent you want to close it, that's all. Right. So either the scope of coverage, either the duration, either the proprietary, everything can be done. You see, we don't normally, when I acquire something, I don't normally look at the figures one. I look at, first of all, what the proprietary right of the company, what they have. Secondly, I look at the people. The people is what makes it whole special. We also learn a lot that sometimes we have failures as well. We mess up a lot of things, but the cost of it, we learn.
What about the people that you look out for? And
we look at people. At the end,
you mean the owners of the business?
The team, the owner, the team, the people that runs the business. Very important. No point buying a company and the people all resign. You know, you have to. Buying company is easy. Seriously, shutting company is even easier. Trying to keep the business running is the tough part. It's not that complicated.
But some of the business you said you went in to just shut it down, but some you keep running. What was the?
No, some where they are worth keeping, we keep it. You see, we buy company, but for example, we buy the company with containers. You know the container bracket, you see the bottom? That is very unique, right? There's a proprietary right for that. We buy for that for many years, and it's easy to make, you know, one by one. For every container you make, you definitely need the bracket, right? So that's what I do
So
for a
that
living.
company didn't got shut down, or
No, I didn't shut down.
okay, it still
Some were
runs.
kept. Some are defense equipment. Because of defense tracks and all that, we do that. That's what I do. So this is the part. Basically, a lot of these are confidential items. Right? So we are very careful how we do this.
Yeah.
Okay, what we say also.
Oh, yes. No.
So after that, after
Yeah.
many years of doing that, I decided to go but do my study, further my study. So
And
I
your
decided to do my
Masters.
Master of Science in Computer Integrated Manufacturing. Let me explain to you. I got very cool foresight of things to happen in every 10 years. If you ask me what happened in the 2030, 40, 2040, I can tell you the answer, right, how I see it. But that's my view of looking at it. So when I was at that stage, I realized in the 1980s, let me look back now. In the 1980s, we talk about quality, Akio Morita, Sony, and all that. In the 1990s, we talk about productivity and all those stuff, right? In 2000, we talk about Y2K, you know, the IT computer thing. 2010, we talk about apps. Everything is a modern app, you know. 2020, we talk about social enterprise. 2030, we talk about 2030, we talk about water. 2040, we'll be looking at food. And that's how I see it. So if somebody asks me how you want to do business, I would tell them if you are 20-something, you better look at food in the future. Right? Coming back to this thing now is, so basically what I do is after graduate, I do my master's degree. And I got my master's degree. After graduating, very fortunate, I got a job with Geneva for working for a Society Generale. And that was where I realized ISO very important. And as an engineer, I want to learn. And one of the key jobs is ISO give us a chance to see a lot of companies, assess them for ISO. So I learned a lot. I was trained in Geneva. And I was posted to Oden in Manchester to work.
For those who, I mean, how will you define ISO? I mean,
ISO is a international quality standard.
Correct.
And I was trained to be an audit or assessor. So I did that for a few years. Then 2004, I came back to Singapore.
Did you specifically chose that job because then you can?
I learned a lot. I can do different company, and I was offered job because I realized that ISO is very new in the industry. Everybody needs to be certified. So that's why I went to take this job. That's why I told you my foresight, very good one. So I'm very fortunate. I was headhunted back. Either I go to Shanghai, Indonesia, or Singapore or Hong Kong. I decided time to come back. Why I come back is just to share with your audience is sooner or later, your children have, you know, I do it for my son, my children. I realized it's a nice culture, but at the end of the day, I don't want my children to grow up like a banana, yellow on the outside, white on the inside. So I decided to bring them back, and in 1994, I came back to Singapore.
So when you had your children, you were still.
My eldest son was born over there. No, in
Hong Kong.
I was still in Sheffield. My house is in Sheffield.
Okay.
So that is where my eldest son was born. So we decided to bring the eldest son back. The second one was born in Singapore. Okay.
Yeah.
So I came back to Singapore. I worked for Coopers and Lybrand.
Yeah.
I worked as a management consultant. So the first time was quite tough because basically I don't have network, and Coopers provide a platform for me to, you know, engage people and build my career from there. I always believe that way back I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but I realized I don't have the money. I don't have anything, right? I really don't have. My family don't have, not that rich. So basically, I came back to Coopers for one thing. I always wanted to start my own consultancy firm. So I started my own consultancy firm later on. So Coopers provide me an opportunity to learn about consultancy. I specialize in small business, or at that time it's called Promising Local Enterprise, PLC. And I did IPO, I did mergers and acquisition, I did total business plan, a lot of things. It's quite a good experience for me.
Was that also designed for that job when you came back?
I want the job because provide me a platform to start up my own business. So 94 to 97, I do that. 97, I started my own business. I started a consultancy called Christopher Benjamin Consultancy Services.
Name after two of your sons.
And yeah, because I believe that as an entrepreneur, you must always know why you're doing it. It cannot be about money all the time. It must something I love to do.
Yeah.
And one thing I love to do is to work with people, small company. You see, when I was in William Cook, I specialized in closing company down. At that, I must have made thousands of people redundant. Here they call retrenchment, they're called redundant. And I realized, no, that's not the way. I want to do more, right? And that's now when I came back, when I started my consultancy business, I realized I want to help company to grow. So from 1997 to, 2010, I've done over 56 over companies. I started doing ISO, but I realized that wasn't very good.
Why is that so?
Because less and less money, right? And a lot of people doing it. So after that, I go into something quite unique. I go into the business development. As I told you just now, I went to China in the 1980s. I've been in and out of China for many, many times. Then I realized I also know I want to build my business in business development. So I went to India. Okay.
Before we get started on that, I mean, I just want to unpack a little with Christopher Benjamin's. When you first started, when you get out of Cooper's, how, I mean, like what my friends say in consultancy, mainly they get you because of the brand. They didn't get the consultant because of the consultant. More than that, they want to bring to the board of management that this guy who's a consultant from so and so company, and he says this. So hence the rest of the people on the table will say, okay, that's a good decision. And so whenever a new business consultant get out from his old job to this new job, they face a lot of problems finding new customers. So what was your
Actually, one of the
angle?
things I want to share with people is that when you're Coopers and Lybrand, your name card is a very big deal.
Yes.
So people look to you, wow, The lesson dawned on me when I went out is that as an entrepreneur, Christopher Benjamin, nobody knows, right? So when I give my name card, the same person that I talk to, look at your name card, no, we prefer the big, But that doesn't hurt me at all because I have a very good reputation as a consultant. I'm very successful and very when I say we deliver, means we deliver, right? So when I started building my consultancy, I focus a lot on process, system, everything. I take small company, right? Then later I went to decided to develop business. Okay, let me explain about a bit why I do India. The story goes back in 1997. I was very successful. My 97, I come out. I think 98, 99, I bought a watch.
Yes.
90, then I bought a Mercedes Benz. Then I bought a car. I bought an office. Right. So things are doing quite well. Then I torn the Achilles tendon here.
Yes.
And for months and months and months, I was out of work because basically. So entrepreneurship at that time, I realized it's very tough. It's not everybody's cup of tea. And that's where I realized I want to write a book and share, right? I wrote 3 books, right? One is called The Element of Success in Business. What I'm trying to explain to people is that...
That's the first book, right?
Yeah. What I'm trying to share is basically for every Bill Gates and all these people you see, right? There are millions and millions of people who wants to be there. So I thought entrepreneurship is not everybody's cup of tea. Then I went on to write the second book and the third book, right? It's all based on the element of success in business. Now,
so for the first book, what was the impetus to write it?
No, to tell people that entrepreneurship is not that simple. I'm one of the few people who don't think that, if you go into entrepreneurship, you really love it. Don't do it because you want lots and lots of money. It doesn't work that way. So I wrote the first book that I wrote that success is a satisfying state of the mind. Failure is when you stop trying, right? That's what I wrote. And I went on to write that book, and it went on to very successful in India. One of the best sellers in India, right? Then I wrote the second one. It's called The Element of Success in education.
I want to unpack a little bit on the first book, on elements of success in business. What was your process writing the book?
Actually, it was not complicated.
Because you want to debunk this whole
No.
myth that it is very
Yeah,
difficult,
but you see,
actually.
My life is filled with dreams, one after another.
Mm-hmm.
As a childhood dream, what I have is, I'll tell you more about one day a month thing.
Yeah, no, we'll ask that, don't worry.
Yeah,
We'll come
one
to
of the
that.
things I have to do is when I was young is I always go to library. I love libraries, I love books. And I always think that one day, if I ever grow up, I will write a book and people will go library and buy and see my book. And that was the thing. That's why I thought, yeah, why not write a book? I was in hospital for a few weeks. That's why I told myself, well, write a book, keep my mind occupied. So that is what I did. I wrote the first book. I went to write on the second book called Element of Success. I was very fortunate.
How do you write the first book?
That's right. I don't think it's a...
And
after finishing a book, I never actually do anything. I was working. Somebody came along, a friend of mine came along, saw the book. He said, wow, this is a very good book. He took the book, he went to a publisher, went to another publisher, and went to Marshall Cavendish in UK, and they published a book. Then I signed contract for 4 books. So I just carry on writing.
Oh, wow.
It's based on a set of elements. It's called the element of success. Mm-hmm. And
but because it seems to me that when the book came out and when what you wanted to write before was like maybe debunking the myth that entrepreneurship is easy.
No, I wasn't debunking the whole concept of entrepreneurship. I was trying to explain to you that what is the success factor for entrepreneurship. Mm-hmm. It makes your 5 elements. Okay,
so this is the
essence of the book is based on this formula.
Yeah. So which book is this? Are we talking
all
about?
3 books.
All 3
it's why I call it Element of Success of Business. The reason why Marshall Cavendish, Federal are all printing this book because of this formula. I'm able to capture what I call element success. Let's say, for example, in business. To be successful in business, you really must love the business. Right. Must have passion for I love food. So that was what my G's is. The second is time. Time is fixed. Right. So you must invest time in the business. Thirdly, knowledge. You must be willing to learn. If you think I know hawker center, I really don't know. I only know how to eat. Later, money. It's not how much you have, it's how you spend it. Next, health. Physical, mental health. To run a business like that, you must be fit. Business has to be fitness. Master opportunity. So, I wrote the first book about business. They liked so much, they asked me to write the second one called Element of Success in Education.
So, when you wrote the first book in business, is this sort of defined already, this formula?
Yeah.
Or it came on?
No. I got something to tell people. If you want to go to business, you must really love it. Because if you just say, oh, I want to do it for the money and all that, no. Do it for fame and all that, no. You do it because you really love what you do. And that I really love what I do. I love consultancy.
Yeah.
I wrote the second book about education because I realized I always thought that I want to write a book because my son, at that time, there's something called EM1, EM2, EM3.
I think there's still...
And so I decided that my son's study wasn't very good, Chinese wasn't very good. So I want to write a book about education. And I wrote that whatever you do about education, he must love the subject. Secondly, invest time in your son. You see, it's no point telling lip service. Next, knowledge. Teach him how to study. You're already a father, you should know how to teach. Next, money. Tuition is not cheap. One child tuition with thousands of dollars. Next, health. Some children are able, not willing. Some are willing, not able. Some of the children you see here are not willing, not able. Right. The best is blessed is the children who are willing, able. Right. Educate children are all the time. There's no such as quality time, quantity time. Education, children is all the time. Everything is a learning. So there's always opportunity. Right. It was so successful they asked me to write a third one. This time, I wrote.
But it wasn't bestseller, the second one. The first
it was
one,
in Malaysia.
Oh, it's in Malaysia.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah. Then they don't sell in Singapore.
Why? Why do they not
because
sell in
I
Singapore?
don't do the publicity in Singapore. For them, why Marshall is good is that they send me to various places to promote the book. Singapore, I don't, because I also got, I don't know, just consultancy take up too much my time. So I wrote the third work about life. Actually, the story behind it is very simple. I was asked to write about life, was at that time in India. And what happened was, the publisher said, why don't you write about life? So I said, I really don't know much about life, I'll go and find out. At that time, I was in somewhere in Chiang Mai, and I went to a temple. And one thing I learned about Chiang Mai is that, about temple is that, or monk is that, if you ask them about life, it's an 8 hours lecture. So I decided that after learning from him about something called Bhagavad Gita, he
8
asked me
hours.
yeah, he told me something very nice. He said, if you really want to know about life, go to a place called Dharavi. Dharavi is in the east of Malaysia, east of India, in a place called Mumbai. It's one of the poorest places in the world. So I went there, according to what the monk has asked me to do, and I walked into Dharavi. You must have seen the show, The Slumdog Millionaire. That is Dharavi. And I walked around, and I realized, why did the monk call me to come here? So I walk. We haven't seen poverty till you see this place. People are very poor. A small square like that can have the kind of kitchen, the bathroom, the everything all into one. And the place smells a lot. After walking, nearly 3 hours, trying to find why was I here? Why am I here? People very kind one. They give me milk to drink and all that. After 3 hours, I realized something. The poorest place in the world has one thing. Laughter. People laughing, very happy, right? And after I came back and I rewrote the book, right? And I call it Element of Success in Living. You see, life is about living. You must have passion for life, For what I see, a lot of people, to them it's work, live, and I find that there's more to that than just work. Secondly, I think time is fixed one. I think it's very fair that everybody is 24 hours. Rich or poor, young or old is 24 hours. So 8-10 hours you go and sleep, eat, whatever, you go toilet, 8 hours you go to work. There's only 6 hours left for physical, mental, social, family time. That's all, nothing else. That's fixed. No matter who you are, you still have 24 hours. Life is about learning. Never, never, never stop learning. That's why until today, I'm very blessed. Next, I've seen people living on $800 a month, $500 a month. You see, life is money is what you make out of it, It's not how much you have. Sometimes it's about how you spend it, that's all. Right. Next, life is about health, physical, mental health. And life is full of opportunity. I was explaining to my boy, in the book, it's actually explained a lot of things. For example, a lot of people say, I work, go and work. Actually, if you look at life, it's a bell curve. So from 10 years old to 60 years old, that is your earning power, You think 10-year-old can earn power? No. So it's also your network. That is where you build. By the time you come to 70s, 80s, there's no more, So this is always, life is about living. And that's why that's why this book is so successful. And I wrote all 3 books. The second one is about education. I wrote that education is about, what I wrote. That is the first one, called Element of Success. Success is a satisfying state of the mind. Failure is when I stop trying. I wrote the second one. Education is not about good grade, it's about good moral value, And life cannot be just about work. I'm seeing people doing that, and I think they miss the whole point of life, So that's why I wrote 3 books. So the 3 books, let's go back to my consultancy. The book was written because I broke my leg, and for months now I wasn't out of job. So I decided that if I recover later on, I should do something about it, So I decided to do, the idea is, I'm a very good strategist.
So the first book in business.
Yeah.
Oh, you really know you're on the right tree?
The time I already want to venture, because the book was written in India. It's not written in Singapore.
Got it.
When I was traveling. I travel a lot. So basically at that time when I traveled, that's why I wrote the book, after I recover. So my strategy was very simple. Why don't I take China company to develop business in India? India company to develop business in China. We're talking about late 1990s. Nobody ever thought of India at that moment.
Wait, is this anything to relate with the book, or you write the book while doing
I
your
doing my business.
consultancy?
I have to recover first. So during the recovery, I finished off the book and I left it alone. Then I travel, right?
Right.
So I traveled from China to India, India to China, and that's how I developed the business.
Correct. So this moment in time, you were still helping SME to
All my
systemizing.
clients are SME, and I got clients in China. I work with them very closely. A lot of people say you can't make money out of Chinese and all that. All the problem they have in China. Same thing. A lot of Chinese come to Singapore also lost money. What the heck, right? Same thing. So I got the same logic, same thing. So this is quite a good formula. Now you want to know about Indian story, right? How I penetrate India, right?
Yeah.
You read about it, right? Have you read about
Yes.
that? So India is a very difficult market to penetrate. Really serious.
So
Because
right now, how do you wait, let me go back a little bit on China. So right now you have China and you have Singapore companies, and
at that time, Singapore government said, "Oh, go China, go China."
also you went.
No. I was there in 1980. Before Goh Chok Tong come back talk about it, I already gone there already.
Yeah.
And I realized China is not an easy market.
Yeah.
It's really
Why?
Because the culture is different. Imagine years and years of communism and you're restrictive and you don't have basic needs. And all of a sudden they say, open up, right? Black mouse, white mouse, white cat, doesn't matter as long as you can catch a mouse. No? So at the end of the day, you realize that kind of mindset is very different from, which is what happened to Vietnam, Myanmar now. They're same mindset. The eagerness to learn, the eagerness to grow, the eagerness to progress is something, the hunger is there. And because of it, I met a lot of very nice, very interesting people.
But why is so hard for you to go into that market?
No, it's not hard.
Oh, so it's not hard.
It's not hard. Because I went there, I built very good relationship with a lot of people. I went there in 1980 plus. The people I know last time I just a clerk. Now they're CEO, chief executive, IT expert in a lot of areas. I never sort of expect anything from anyone, I always tell people I'm not here to do business. I'm here to make friends. 做朋友先, right? And that's how I built.
So now you just go on this trip yourself, you solo, I assume, and you landed in China. What is you have, I don't know, 1 week maybe. What do you do here? Because I think most people who say they want to go venture out, they just blur, right?
In China, I'm quite lucky. You don't pay me, I don't go. China is one of the beauty. I learned one thing over the years to how to do China. I'm one of the few people very successful in China.
Yes.
I don't do Chinese business. I take the Chinese out of water. I take the fish out of water. I bring them to Australia. I bring them to various places. I bring them out. So when you're out, I bring them to India. When they're out, they really depend on you. Language, everything all depend on you. So I'm very successful in the China. I always tell people, don't do Chinese business. There's no way you can win them one. Bring them out of water. Get them to go other places.
Did you learn this the hard way or?
No, just I realized logic is logic. Nothing is right. Life is full of logic. So I explained that. So I start bringing them out. I bring them to Australia to do work. I bring them to Singapore, registered company. Do simple.
How did you get in touch with them in the first place?
No, I know them for many years. And by China also by word of mouth. Okay. You see, because they are close up. Last time there's no internet, no Google. So they will go by word of mouth. Oh, 小许可以做这个 one by one by, and then they just call you. But when they call, you have to be. You mustn't think like a Singaporean. Contract all this is you must work like a Chinese. So I always tell them, you don't pay me, I don't call. I don't go. I don't do your thing for you. So pay me first, and they pay you first, right? You must think like a Chinese. For years and years, they have been sheltered. Now they open up, you must understand the mindset. They want to get to A and B at the fastest possible time, at their own speed, at their own pace, right? So you must work at their way they will do things. Paper is just a piece of paper. It doesn't mean a thing. A lot of time, it's about relationship. And I'm very fortunate I built very good relationship. And if you look at what I do now, they even admire me more. They love me for doing things like that. Because I never have intention of doing business with you. But if you want to do business with me in China, I will take you out. But it's also a matter of trust. And one thing very good, by word of mouth, If you say there are bad people in China, there are also bad people in Singapore. So what's the big fuss, you know? You just have to find the right players to work. That
And you
brings me,
started out with a good track record, and now it's just basically word of mouth.
you don't try to go and do business with people in China. Seriously. And all these years, I never tried to do business. It's like, oh, you ask me to do something. Sometimes I don't charge, you know, just for some piece of, just go and register a company, don't charge. But that thing about relationship, but they also, it's a matter of trust. If they see that you are doing things and you feel that there's things that are wrong, you must tell them. Don't benefit, don't think of short-term gain, you know, and long-term, right? So that's how the relationship is built. Then what happened?
If
I
you want to
realized-
bring them out.
Yeah. So I started doing it very successful. Then later I decided that, okay, I want to go to another country. My idea is very simple. Take the Chinese to India. The two biggest economy untapped is China, India. I bring them to India. Then I bring them to China. That's all. I started India in late 1990s. I went there first time. Right. You must understand Indian culture, very unique one. Okay, seriously, very hard. India is harder to do than China in many ways.
Jack told me a little bit about it too.
Yeah. About what? About China? India?
Well, he did deal with bureaucracy over in India, and
So
it
India-
doesn't move. It doesn't move.
Yeah,
Someone's birthday, someone's wedding.
Yeah. So basically what I did in India was very simple. I went on the first trip. I think you read the article. I went on the first trip. I was too first trip. I arranged with consultant, management consultant. But like typical Singaporean, I choose a cheap hotel. It's a place called South Extension. $60 a day. I don't mind the cockroach. I can see cockroach running around. But I don't like the hot water. Shower already, no lather one. Very fat. And I realized Indian people very very snobbish. They look at you one day. You are a consultant from Singapore, right? And come and see me, and you live in a cheapskate hotel, right? They are late, 10 o'clock appointment, they come at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock, they don't feel bad. I realized I wasted the whole trip, right? I realized if I want to do this well, you have to do it another way. So I was quite disheartened. I got $10,000. I put aside $10,000 to do this, to break into the Indian market. So I came back. Second trip, I decided, I stayed in a place called the Taj at Delhi. Nice place. At that time, Taj was only $100 US dollars, something like that. Now Taj is worth $400-500 US. So you can see the difference of the growth of the country. And what was nice is, this time different. People come, I don't even need appointment. They come, they talk. They even buy me drink, buy me lunch. It's because face.
And
Right.
did you knew about this only, or is it just by chance?
No, I learned by chance.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not that smart. I just learned by chance. And I realized culturally we are very different. But I still cannot get the penetration. How do I get crowd? At Taj that night was quite interesting.
So you did manage to meet them.
Yeah,
but
meet them, but
didn't connect, or
no.
what was that?
It's going to be a very tedious process. But this is not giving me the critical mass, the mass of people I want in the shortest possible time.
Got it.
That
You
is
want to
where-
be effective
I want
and
to quick and
efficient. Yes.
fast. So what happened that day? I went down to there was a wedding at Taj in Taj Hotel. By the way, Taj is very expensive. To have a wedding there is expensive. And what happened? I happened to be curious. I walked into the wedding. I was in suit and tie anyway, so was quite well dressed. I walked in the wedding, and you see, to the Indian, wow, you got a Japanese man coming to attend my son's wedding. Very big deal. Next thing I know, I give out all my name card, all gone. I went up and get another name card. In the shortest possible time, in a wedding, my hit rate very high. Okay, let me explain about Indian wedding. Indian wedding is a 3 to 5 day affair. It's not like Singapore, one night over and that's it, right?
Yes.
So in the Indian wedding, everybody get together. All over the city, all over the country will come together. Especially if you are somebody relative, very important relative, everybody come. It happens in October to March. There's a gap of Hell Week where they cover up, but every day is a wedding, right? And they really spend on wedding because it's a matter of face and everybody come together. And then I realized, wow, this is fantastic. So from that moment onward, I did crash wedding. I decided that that's the only way I can get to contact. So I do this 5 city, 7 day tour. I will go home, go China, do I ever come back, take another suitcase, I go to India, And I travel from Delhi to Lucknow, Lucknow to Kampu, Kampu back, then go to Srinagar, Srinagar back, go to Goa, then I go to Calcutta, Chinagao, everywhere, everywhere I go up and down, up and down, and down. I went everywhere. I did this 5 cities, 7-day tour for 3 over years. I did that. In my pump top down, there are over 33,000 companies and contact I made. And nice thing about it is then I become very focused because I can't attend all the wedding. So I choose a wedding that is in a stadium, in a big marquee, Madras Sports Stadium. I went to, seriously, very big farmhouse, huge farmhouse. I also choose that I heard that the wedding got elephant, then I go. Horses, I don't want to go. Horses is cheaper, elephant more expensive. And then a lot of things, I learned a lot. And I also become focused in the sense that I only focus on Mawaris. India got a caste system. I focus on one particular caste. Then I focus on Rajasthanis and all the people. But I built a big contact. So much so that I got to teach there. I'm also a teacher because of what I do. Because it's very rare to find a Singapore person who is familiar with both China and India. And from India, I tap onto Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and all that. Because a lot of majority of the people in Middle East are from Indian origin. And that's how I built my business. That's why I told you I'm very successful Indian. Even now, I'm very blessed. Indian, I got a lot of friends who come here, right? Who come and visit them, I visit them. And I teach Indian school. I must have teach thousands and thousands. So if I want something, I just have to make a phone call. So I start building business from Singapore, US, Dubai, Middle East. I do a lot of this. Only 2005, I came back later. I came back to Singapore. I stopped doing this in 2006. In the course of seeing all these things, I got a chance to see another side of Singapore, another side of the world that Singaporeans don't see. Innovation, poverty, and I learned a lot in the travel.
It seems like you're a networking expert. So this question is a networking question. So like you go to this big wedding, and then lots of people getting your name cards, and you usually exchange. What happens? What is the cataloging? What is the follow up? What is the process to nurture a contact, or do you at all?
No, getting the name card is the easiest part. Keeping the name card and getting people right. If you see my Facebook, there are thousands of Indian on it, right? If you tell me what you want now, timber, I can give you timber supplier. You want aluminium screws, I can give you aluminium screws. That's what I do. This name contains everything. It screwed up last time. I just changed the phone, but I still got pumped up. So basically, what I do is that is network, that is information, that's data. I just haven't mined those data. So somebody now wants me to get water from Bangalore. I know the people who distribute water, right? My reputation is very good. People call me professor, right? And given that you got a book, people respect you a lot. You're a writer. And now that I do this, even more so, right? I just been to India. I generate about 3,000 people just listening about social enterprise, right? It's something that I'm very blessed. Okay, let's moving forward now.
Wait, what's the process from getting the cards or filtering them to knowing and knowing these companies by head, and how did you?
What I do is I
contact?
make a point of writing what I know about a person, everything, right? So in the course of it, you see, let's say for example, right? So I write things like that. Oh, colleague of Bernard, have fun. So I write down these are all Indians, every single one of them. I just pinpoint, this is so you must keep recording, and after you maintain them. So for example, the other thing I do very well is, show you something.
Yes.
Okay. Birthdays. I keep record, Jude's birthday tomorrow. So I'll tell Jude, happy birthday. The one person that nobody care about, right? Your wife, your children, nobody really bother, right? And this consultant friend of yours from nowhere wish you a happy birthday. How do you feel? They remember you better than anybody else. There are a lot of things I do. It's in the class.
I think it's great for anyone who's listening
I teach MBA students. I teach them how to do this. I teach them a lot of things. So these are all in my class. I don't teach so far Singapore company, nobody want to teach because I don't have a PhD, right? But don't forget, I'm one of the most successful teacher in SPGen because I can tell you about, the bad side of bad practice of business and all that. Because I've been over 30 years of doing this, and I'm willing to share. And not only share, I can tell you the solution.
Are there any hacks you have for networking in Singapore?
What is hacks?
No, hacks like shortcuts. Like you go for indoor stadium in India.
In Singapore, because of my job here, I don't have time to go and network. Right? I network very differently from most people. I network for a purpose. So let's say, for example, I want to know certain people. I go and focus on people who I know has a lot of network. Then I talk to them. Can you help me? People will help me. So there are a lot of things. The reason why I can do what I do is I got a lot of people who support me and guide me. So this network that I have is go to very useful. Put to good use. Okay, let's move forward. So basically, at that time when I came back to Singapore in '94, I realized something quite unique. This one is the thing you can tape down because I realized when I first came to Singapore, I realized there's no beggars in Singapore.
Comparing it to India, right?
Anywhere.
Yes, actually.
You ask yourself, you live in Singapore, right? Why no beggars? Why no homeless people? Where's the homeless people? Yeah, I saw one there, saw one there. Let me ask you, you see any homeless people? Right. The third thing is, why no disabled children in shopping center? Don't have a... Singapore very nice. Singapore is utopia. Crap, rubbish. In the course of it, I went to find the answer. And that's why I realized at that time in '94, I want to find out, I want to do something about it. So I started something called 1 day a month. 1 day a month, I want to do something unique. Right. Vincent, go and do your thing. Go. Right. Okay. 1 day a month, I want to do something. So I go out. I started with the old folks at Spottiswoode Park. At that time, I was staying in Spottiswoode Park.
Why did you want to start to do that?
No, I realized at the end of the day, you must give back. Right. So at Spottiswoode Park, I see a lot of old people there. These people don't belong to a home. They have sons, their daughters, but they're quite bored at that time. There's no senior activity center at that time. So I start bringing 4, 5. I hire a bus. I hire a coach. Then I bring up to 40. And slowly, big, become more and more and more. And I bring them to factory visit, shopping in JB on my own account. You see, that time I was a lot overtime. And I claim day off all the time. So I bring them up all over Singapore. I do a lot of this. Every month, once a month, I do it. Because I tell myself, only 1 year, 12 months.
Were you inspired by someone, something?
Don't need lah. I just see those people downstairs. That's good. I'm not a prisoner. Somebody seeing that there's a problem or an issue and something I can do, I go and do it. So I started 4-8, got one bus, 40 people, then become 80. And then I did that for 6 years. I'm quite happy with that. Then I moved house. I moved to another place. So I decided, no, don't do this anymore. I work with a place called Kaki Bukit Remand Prison. Those are kids who are studying A level, O level, whatever it is, right? And because I hold a qualification, master's degree, I went there and I teach them. I didn't teach very much, but I got promoted, promoted. They asked me to go to a place called Selarang Drug Rehabilitation Center. There I work with them, I work with drug addict, writing business plan. I set up about 10 businesses, from haircut to logistic, motorbike business, and quite good lah. I must have done very well that the mother of all prison came, Changi. He said,
so you help them
write business plan at that time, teach about planning, how to raise fund.
Yeah.
And these are young drug addict lah. Then I got promoted to Changi.
Was it any different to teach this drug addict than your MBA students over at Jan?
Different, completely different. Right.
What are the differences?
The difference lies in the sense that you need to change them. You see, when MBA come and study, they pay the money, they want to learn. These people is slightly different. Their attitude to learning different, but you still need to get them to be interested.
How do you get them to be interested?
I always tell them, I always come here, I told them, I come here to talk cock. You want to listen, listen, don't listen. I go home tonight, I sleep well, so none of my business. It's up to you. You got that window only. If you don't tap my expertise on this window, then forget it. Maybe out of 10%, maybe 2% will listen to you. That's good enough. You're not trying to change the whole world, you know. If 2% can wake up and say, okay, let's do this, then good. And so far, touch wood, I've been very successful.
So you just go on and play that I'm here, make use of me, and I have knowledge that I might be able to help you or
I
not.
told you from the beginning, respect has to be earned.
Yes.
And the very first day, I don't tell them about our business plan. I tell them about opportunities outside, what to do. Then, you know why the prison likes me very much? First of all, I'm secular. I'm not there to tell you to become a Christian, a Buddhist, whatever it is. It's secular. And sort of, they're quite comfortable with that. Secondly, I told them, I'm here because I want to help you, you know. If you listen, don't listen, never mind. I'm not paid anyway. If you don't listen, I can go burger off already, right? First two trips, they have to be comfortable with you. Once they get comfortable with you, I tell you it's very easy to work with. Because, come on, they also want to see there's hope. You got to give them hope. Give them a vision. Give them a chance, you know. And I tell them, don't give up, you know. There are people out there who will help you, right? Out of 10, maybe only one believe in it. But it doesn't matter. One life is better than 9 lives that don't want to be saved, right?
Yeah.
So after doing that, I got to Changi. And Changi, I worked there for many years, helping Yellow Ribbon.
The same thing.
Slightly different because
why?
of this book. Changi is this book, Element of Success. Right. This book actually talk about why you should not go back to Changi prison. So inside there is a lot of story, one after another. In the course of do a presentation, because I come from Coopers and Library, my presentation skills should be not that bad. So basically, I told them about stories of A, B, C, D, and all that, and what they do. So it become a nice way of sharing them. I'm a very good storyteller. That's why
You are.
So I'm quite blessed in a sense. Since I got that skill, I myself do this, and that's how I did it. So I did that for many years. In 2006, I realized, now let's do something bigger. And that's how I developed Project Dignity.
Yeah. At 2006, you came back, you started with the idea that this guy who wanted to be a chef.
No. What happened was, I travel a lot. Then my wife said, why don't you stop for a few years? Just, that time my kids are young. So I told myself, okay, no, don't travel so much. So I got a job. I was asked by the Spring Singapore to head the Restaurant Association of Singapore. And I went in, I restructured the whole thing, built the whole, I built the whole place up, set up the school, everything. It was then that I realized the issue, that people with disability is very hard to find jobs. I got people who are disabled coming here, want to be a chef. Then I look at him, even if I train you, if you go to a restaurant proper, right, there are 17 different positions. From the caller to the one who picked the vegetable, to the one who washed, the one who cooked, the one who steamed, a lot. So I doubt very much you can come close to become a chef. And that's where the idea of hawker come in. I realized can train.
And why, out of many empowerment school that trains other people, why do you choose hawker specifically?
Okay.
There's people who teach crafting, craft work.
Food is a need. You need to eat. If you study Maslow hierarchy of needs, right, you really need to eat. And what can I do? But hawker is also an Asian phenomenon. They are everywhere. Go to Thailand, Bangkok, the first thing, guy to push out the water, selling drinks and everything. Secondly, they only need to learn one thing. Bakery. Mi pota, bak chor mee, char kway teow, one item people queue up, correct? So I only need to focus on training one item. As an engineer, I realized hawker is a lot more simpler. Let me explain. You train a Down syndrome person now, go to a restaurant to learn coffee. When they serve is cup, saucer, spoon, sugar, correct? Kopi or siu dai, 1 cup, settle. You got to look at the elemental thing of building up the skill.
Got it.
So this is only one item, and it's so simple, break down into item, right?
And after the version 1 of Dignity Kitchen, which was quite a success.
Oh, no, you haven't started that one yet. In 2006, I started this. I went start looking for money. Since you want the whole version, I tell you the whole version. Those years, I start looking for money. You know what happened? If you could tell people that a hawker center can be manned by stroke, by Down syndrome, by autistic, nobody believe you. But what I did was quite clever. I bounced this idea to every single F&B because I was executive director Restaurant Association. I bounced it out to everybody who is in F&B business. All the famous chefs, all the operators, not those government agency. Nobody could believe you. And everyone gave me different view. And everyone said, it can be done. If it can be done, you're very successful. If it cannot be done, you can forget about it. It's very tough. It's just very tough. Trying to train a person in F&B is tough enough. Trying to train a disabled people for this is even tougher. I remember all sitting with me, all the bosses, one by one, I asked, right? Some are different, some individual. After talking to them for many years, I think somehow inside, I know how to model it already. You see, how to model is very important. You must get don't be afraid to ask. One thing you'll find that I always ask people what I don't know. And people will always tell you. That's why in China, India, they are very good to it because they know that, you're very humble, you learn to learn. I always learn one. And that's one thing you must understand. So after modeling, I went to Spring Singapore because I know there's something called seed fund. Mr. Koh, your idea very good. But you see, you got social. You should go to MCYS and get the ComCare Fund, Community Care Fund. So I went there, presented. Mr. Koh, your idea very good. But you see, you got training that come under WDA. So I went WDA, presented. WDA very nice. Don't forget, at that time I was ED of Restaurant Association,
yes,
which I know everybody that is about all the people I talk to is not your officer, is the directors. Then he told me, WDA don't fund startup. Please go back to Spring Singapore and get the fund. So I realized there isn't money. Then at that time I still doing my consultancy.
Is it because there isn't money?
There was no money involved. I realized nobody will support me, and I'm a social enterprise. When I tell people what's a social enterprise, nobody know what is that. I told them, actually social enterprise are just a commercial entity trying to solve a social problem. So what social problem am I trying to solve? I was trying to eradicate poverty. Try to help poor people. Because I remember hawker can support family one. Why can't we do that? And second thing is I'm trying to create employment for these people. All those people sitting there. So if they can have job, which I successfully done now, I'm very proud of it, I've done it now. So that should be what I want to do. So that was the year I look around. I was still working at that time. I still got my consultancy job. Then I started looking for place. Everywhere is so expensive. I went to bid, I went to tender. I couldn't find a place. Then I went to find people. All these people you see, these are the people I picked. Some of the people has been with me from the beginning, right? And then eventually I decided, okay, time to do it. Actually, time to do it has a lot to do with my mother one day. One day she asked me, watching television, she said, what are you going to do? What are you doing now? What do you want to do? I told him this answer many, many times. He said, yeah, stop, 不要講了啦，愛去做啦，我調工先, right? And that's where I started thinking of it. And 2010, I remortgaged my office with 250,000. I put it in.
Then you already had 3 stalls that.
No, that was the time. 2010, I started it with 4 stores.
4 stalls, okay.
And individually looking after the whole thing. Then after 1 over years, rental goes up. So no choice, I moved to a second place, Kaki Bukit. 14 stores covering 14,000 square feet. That's where I built Dignity Mama 1 and 2. Then I built Kitchenette 1 after that. Then we incubate. Then after that, rental goes up again. So I moved to here. So that is a separate story. The Dignity Culture is a very long story. So now I've been around for 7.5 years now. We train over 460 people with disability. Normal people coming to training, I've trained over thousands by now. Normal people like you come and learn.
Because you do WQS as well, right?
So elderly coming for lunch, we've done over, elderly come up for 46,000 by now.
Wow. Almost 10,000, 9,000 per
Incubate
year.
over 33 business. Right. Hawker stores all over Singapore. That's why we won the Social Enterprise Award.
Well, What was the most difficult failure you had to stomach running Dignity Kitchen?
It has to do with the suicide. Right. Did I tell you this story? I made one very stupid mistake with one of the trainee. She, at the age of 20, she studied. Then what happened? She didn't do very well. At the age of 32, from age of 20 to 32, she went from depression to bipolar. You know what's bipolar? You know, up and down, happy and So I took her in one day. I trained her. Then I realized she came with a doctor and a mother. And I don't understand. Actually, I know about bipolar, but never in depth. So what happened? I decided to train her and put her through the courses. And I realized bipolar very tough. Seriously, very tough. Why? When she on medication, very good. When the medication become half-life, was she can pick all the rubbish you see on the floor. People sneeze also put on the tape, put on the bag. Every day at 4 o'clock like that, I have to clear all her rubbish. Right. The mind, very tough one. We got after training, and she's very smart. She passed the exam, passed the test. We put her through everything very well. We put her through then we got her a job. The job is at a factory doing sticker, cutting steak. And she worked very well. That is where I learned the biggest lesson or biggest failure in Dignity Kitchen. All the bosses who want us to give them workers are very nice ones. They need that worker and they really want to help. Right. The problem I didn't know was co-worker. The people they work with. So the first co-worker treated her very well. Late also never mind, buy her lunch. I know her mental state was very nice. She was very happy. They changed the second worker. This second supervisor scold her, shout her, take things, throw at her. I didn't know till I saw the CCTV, right? And how much she went through. You must understand, depression people don't talk. They keep and keep and keep and keep. Until one day, on a Monday, she went back home, waited 3:30 and jumped from the 6th floor and killed herself. That lesson taught me a very bad lesson. Why I know is the police call up. You know this. Yeah. Later on, I found out. They didn't tell me she committed suicide. They called the company. I told her where she works. The company called me. The boss called me. The boss was crying. I also was crying. And realized, quite tough. Until the day after that, I realized I'm just trying to do too much in too short a time. Maybe I should just don't take 20, 30 people, 5, I just take 5 or 4 and slowly help these people one by one. And we're also very selective. Not everybody we help. We start trimming them down. By the way, what we are doing now in Dignity Kitchen is we have 400 people, 400 people waiting on the list of file that I have. But why can't we take not everybody we can help. Really seriously. And that is the toughness of it. Answer your question?
What are the criteria then now after?
We're looking for 3 things. Social, articulate, mobility. Social can talk, articulate can do, mobility can come to work. We're looking for, we try to do those we can place. You see, in most places, they train. Training no use one, you must place them with job. So that's where we are coming. We place them with job. We are able to place them.
And do you design the training program after choosing the placement?
Yeah. Sometimes they only work 3 hours, 2 hours. Sometimes they only chop vegetable. There was one guy who just chopped vegetable every day, 2 hours get paid. We got people who just help to clean up, do certain work. That's all. You see, you customize the job to those people. So there's a story behind it. Question. You're not asking me about Dignity Kitchen, so let's talk about something.
No, I want to know about the pairing system as well that you talk about briefly, because you take on so many different kinds of different disability.
No, Dignity Kitchen are out to do 4 things. First, the methodology is very simple. Skill them first. Cooking is a skill. Secondly, we gainful employment. I want to get them to get paid properly. There are places I know where they pay $60 a month, shelter workshop, right? Very bad. Thirdly, I want them to be integrated back to society, which is why I create a hawker center. Everybody come to hawker center. And fourthly, inclusion. getting society to accept them. This, until today, is also the biggest challenge. You'll be surprised not many people can accept mental patient, bipolar, schizophrenic, eczema, or this dialysis. So that's what I was trying to do. Am I successful? Not really lah. I'm still learning. It's not something that I will encourage people to do. If you tell me tomorrow you want to do this, I say, I'll ask you why, what for, what are you trying to do? I came in with the purpose of trying to help these people, but I didn't know the extent of the challenges that mounted it. You see the boy just now? Imagine he's somebody's son, somebody's brother. If he's your brother, you're then thankful to people like us, correct? So, if you look at them, some of them have done quite well. Some of them went got job, some of them have a lifestyle which I'm very proud. No, please, proud for them. Do I want something for return? No. I never ask for anything in return. The rule number one I have here is very simple. Zero expectations, zero disappointment. So I don't get disappointed. But I make sure, by hook or by crook, over the years we've done over 400 of them, 460 of them. All don't have jobs, all have CPF. Maybe about 60-70% are still in a job, which I'm very proud of. If they can go and earn $1,000 a month, 1 year 12,000, have CPF, you know how many people how much money I've saved for the government? There's over 4.8 million, $5 million of social impact. And it's not that one person, it's the one person's family. They're somebody's brother, somebody's son, somebody's uncle, you know. And I'm glad that I could be a part of it.
People has always, like you mentioned, been the hardest component of every business. And how do you then motivate them to still come, to learn and to place them in
Okay, let me explain.
jobs?
Why is Project Dignity so successful is people will keep coming because we don't, you know, like in other organization, in here, we use money. Money is the motivating factor. If you study Maslow hierarchy on it, you need to do subsistence. Money is the important part of their life. So they need to come. If they come here, they get paid $5 an hour. You don't come, you don't get paid. So using money as a motivating factor, we train them. So schools, if every teacher gives a student $10 to shut up and keep quiet, I believe they will follow suit, right? But here we need them to learn. And to do that, we need to pay them. It's not cheap. Training one person is not cheap. In total, I spent over $1 million plus of this. I told you the first lot is 200,000. When I moved to the second place, Kaki Bukit, I have $500,000. I borrow. When I moved to here, I tell you, you don't have many friends. Everybody see you losing money. You think they were there to answer your telephone call? That was quite disappointing. But at that moment, my mom passed away and my mom left me some money and I put the money in, thinking that my mom will want me to carry on. I carry on.
And the day that you put
So it's in total $1 million invested in it. By now, I lost a lot.
what is the conversation you had when you need to tell your wife about this, that you are committed to stay on for the long haul? Because
No, I'm
it's,
very
it's
lucky.
not just you.
Actually, from the day one, my wife knows me very well. And she also supports me in what I do, you know. So I'm very fortunate in that sense. She's still earning money. She's still working. We're supporting the children while I support this baby and make it work. Right. If I stay in my old job and do, I'll be very successful. In terms of money, I'll be successful. But success is not measured by money, you know. Okay.
You are you running out of time?
No. You're up to you.
Okay.
Finish it.
No, I read that Dignity Kitchen at one point was losing about $2,000 daily.
No.
And now
First year
it is
no. First year I lost 270. The sales of 200 over 1,000. I lost 270. Second year 400,000. for the first 2.5 years, he's losing $1,000 a day.
How did that change to breaking even? What was
No,
the...
I got 5 revenue for the very beginning. For those entrepreneurs out there, if you really believe in it, stick with your belief. So I got revenue from sales of food, delivery. So if people buy my food, I earn money. If you got event, let me know, we deliver to you. We also earn money from training. Now with Skill Future, you come here, we can tap on Skill Future credit. We got WDA, non-WDA, we are ATO. We got event, we got a lot of events here that we try to outreach to people, engage people, young and old. We got rental, we got consultancy. So all 5 of them hopefully will generate the money at one time to support the project. So by the time I go to Kaki Bukit, like 3rd year or so, all the 5 revenues are in place. And that's how I survive. So after that, I support. 3rd year, I make money. 4th year, I break even. Right. And that's how I survive so long.
I also read that you have learned a lot from Miss Ang Bilian, who's the National Council of Social
I
Service.
learned a lot from a lot of people. I'm very fortunate in that sense that I got very nice people like Bilian, Fu Hua, a lot, Peck Lim. There are a lot of people out there who guide me one. Like Xiong Guan. There are a lot of people just, when I need help, I need somebody to talk to, I will go and talk to them, and then they'll tell me, yeah, this. I will look at it and I say, okay. One thing I learned, you see, I don't attend classes, I don't attend seminar. When I want to learn something, I actually went on site and see it, or talk to people who are in the midst of it, and ask them, and they will explain to me. And that's how I learned.
What are some of the lessons that you got from Bilian?
Bilian taught me, not just Bilian, most of them taught me a lot. Like Bilian taught me, about humility, about kindness, about the kind of people we can help, right? So I'm very fortunate in that sense.
Tell me a little bit about Dignity Mama.
Dignity Mama was started about 4.5 years ago. A mother and a child walked in, and I realized a mother with disabled children is very tough. The mother left her job, husband earned a living, trying to keep. So I decided there must be a solution to this. You see, my character is that if you don't tell me the problem, I don't care. I don't really bother. So when I found the problem, I decided, why don't I do something about it? And that's where I opened the bookshop, selling second-hand book. Why second-hand book is free? Why book? Book is low touch, meaning that it's not like shape or size, color. Harry Potter is Harry Potter. Then I located in hospital. Why hospital? Where do you find the most doctors? Hospital. Also very captive customer. You sick, you go buy my book. You go away, you return my book. And hospitals are very safe. Cameras everywhere. So that formula took it with 3 mothers, 3 children at Wutai Hospital, and it was very successful. Then I set up a second one at NUH Medical Center, 5 mothers, 6 children. I just set the third one now at Gemfong, altogether 23 people there. So altogether, 30 over people working for me now, Mama Store. Frankly, the chances of them to get something outside is not possible, very difficult. Now they have a shop, they earn a bit money, they get paid CPF, and that's why it's so successful. Then I started a third one, Dignity Cottage. Dignity Cottage is for mother with disabled children, IQ 30 below, very tough one. So I train them up, train the teacher, and we do bird's nest. And so far, that was the first pilot, doing very well. We're going to start another one. Then we started something called Dignity Kitchenette, where we open small stalls. Not to me, I help them to groom school canteen store, guide them and set it up. Then the fifth one is Dignity Kitchen, Dignity Mama, Cottage, Kitchenette. The fifth one is Dignity Meal. Dignity Meal was started about 6 months ago. Why I started Dignity Meal was very simple. There's one person in our life, when we live in HDB, that we never actually look at them. The HDB cleaners. So I started doing this to give cleaners one decent meal, one hot meal a week. So Monday 4 to 6, I cook them one hot meal here. Right. We also cover PMET, people who are out of job, who wants a meal. We have the nice thing about the uniqueness of this program is I don't ask for IC number, whatever it is, just come and eat and go. That's all. One hot meal. That's all. It's called Dignity Meal.
You seem to have been doing so many different projects, all at the same time. I would say, and
Actually, there's not all different. It's all one project.
yes, under
Project
Project
Dignity.
Dignity.
All with the same purpose. As I told you, eradicate poverty, job for the disabled. That's all. The focus is the same. The vehicle is different. Each vehicle I think is different. But the focus and the opportunity is same. So I'm creating opportunity now. You come in, you cannot cook, you sell second-hand books. You really cannot sell second-hand, you can have big burst desk, stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm curious. This is more on a personal question. How do you balance that? I need to get things done. Let's do it. Let's do it now. Versus the patience that you need to teach people.
No. There's two kind of operation. There's two kind of aspect here. One is operational, one is strategic. My job is strategic. I look at ideas. I try to find a solution. I do the innovation to get the things done. Operational wise, whatever they do, they just carry on. They just have to tell me what they want to do. Sunday closing, extra staff, renovation, they have to.
And you want to talk a little bit about the version 4 and version 5 and where we are at right now?
No, just leave that aside.
Okay.
I think you got 4 and 5 up. My character in life is that I don't talk about it until I can do it. So until I can do it, there's no point talking about it.
Okay. I saw there's also a mother's room and father's room over here. What's the story behind that?
Father support us. Mother educate us. That's how I put it. My father is very kind man. He supported us all these years, 6 kids, and brought a lot of things to us. My mother educated us the value and the thing. And I think I want to delegate to all the father, mother out there, that's all.
And what are the functions of those rooms?
No, father is the administration room, mother is the education training room.
Got it. Okay, quick round of questions.
You want to ask me this question? Is it done?
What is the book or books you have given most as a gift?
My book.
Other than your book.
No. I these are the books I give away. I give my sons books as well, but buy books and other. But the question here is as a gift. This is always as a gift. Okay.
Sure. What have you purchased recently under 100 that has most impacted your life in the last 6 months?
Handkerchief. You see, nowadays everybody carry tissue paper. I really find that I don't have handkerchief at one stage. So I go and look for handkerchief. Realize there's no people selling handkerchief in Singapore. Now I found where it is already. I went to Chinatown, I found it. I went to Malaysia, Johor, I found it. So if you ask me under $100 in the last 6 months with handkerchief.
What is the worst advice you have seen or hear being dispensed in your world?
Every day I see the paper, people ask you to start a social enterprise, That is the stupidest advice people ever give. Let me explain to you. If you listen to my talk, my title of the talk is Why You Should Not Start Social Enterprise in Singapore. Now there's a reason why. If you can listen to what I say and still wants to do it, that's a reverse psychology, then I think you'll succeed. If you listen to my story and it's like, wow, very tough, then I think you better stop doing it. The people who give advice on starting a social enterprise, have they been through it? If you look at Dignity Kitchen, you know how many people try to replicate this in the last Kampong Senang, Bedok, everywhere. Everybody. Where are they now? They are all close friends of mine, by the way. And I see what they did. You know what they lost is even greater than me. Okay? Next question.
Any advice for your 20 and 30-year-old self and place us where you're at?
My advice is very simple. Go see the world. Singapore is not the center of the universe. There's so many things out there. And the more you see, the more you learn. As I told you all people, in the valley of the blind, the one-eyed man is the king. Whoever created this has seen a lot more. Why is that I'm first person to do this? Hawker center has been around for 150, 60 years now. Why nobody create a hawker center for disabled? And there are very smart people out there. So
Where? So this is what 20-year-old.
Yeah, go and see the world. Travel the world. Don't tell me, no, just go and see the world. The more you see, the more you learn. And the more you learn, the more you can bring back to Singapore. And the more that Singapore will benefit you from your exposure.
What were you doing then at 20?
By the time I'm 25, I'm out of Singapore. By the time I'm 30 something, I came back to Singapore. By then I've already covered 3 continents already.
Advice for a 30-year-old?
The same advice. I always tell people, go and see the world. Because some people will go later at 30. No? Go and see the world. True, some people say must get married, get a HDB, BTO and all that. Right. But I think at the end, the last thing I'll tell you, the best advice I'll tell you later.
Okay. When you think of the word successful, who came into your mind?
My mom and
why?
dad. My mom and dad brought up 6 very good kids. Right. That itself is successful. A lot of people say I start fantastic business, I'm multi-millionaire. You can tell me about Jack Ma and all that. But for the person who brought up Jack Ma, right, or Bill Gates, and to see their son like that, I think it's a success. You know what I mean? Not in terms of wealth, but in terms of what Bill Gates go out and eradicate bacteria like malaria and all that. You know? So if you ask me, all these people, to me, right, it's the parents who brought them up where they are. Even for you.
What are some of the most common misconceptions about you or your work?
Okay, most misconception is, a lot of people say Dignity Kitchen is religion, Christian value. When I built this place, Project Dignity is not about religion. It's about kindness. I wrote somewhere that kindness has no religion. Kindness has no politics. Kindness is blind to the color of your skin and the nature of your disability. Kindness cannot be preached. It comes from the heart. This place is about kindness. It's not about religion. There's a misconception that this has a lot of... Also, this is the key. It's about kindness. That's a misconception. And kindness applies to right across everything.
Are there any asks or requests for the
I don't know why
audience?
this question. Are there any asks or requests for the audience?
You want to ask them to come?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
It's not about people asking me what's the parting word for them, right?
No.
No, come and see. Come and learn from us. Come and see what we learn, what we have here. You must be proud one thing here. This is entirely Singaporean. Everyone you see here are Singaporean. Charity starts at home. Secondly, here you got a chance to interact with three things: a social enterprise, elderly coming for lunch, and mostly people with disability. There are very few platforms in Singapore that does this, right? Third thing, when you come here, you realize how blessed you are. Seriously, I'm very blessed to be able to wake up in the morning, brush my teeth with my 2 hands, go to walk, do my sit-up, do my chin-up, go out and do things. You know, it's very blessed. And a lot of people take it for granted, right? So the very essence you can come here and see, right, mental patient, stroke, deaf person, you really count your blessing.
Where can people find you or your project on the internet?
Okay, we are on Serangoon Avenue 2 at 0202 Block 267. That's where we are. Our internet is projectdignity.sg.
Okay, we're done. We're done.